There was a program on the radio a couple of nights ago when I was driving north, and it was about animals that had gone extinct. I can't remember the name of the show now, but anyway, it's talking about this particular animal, or animals that are on the brink of extinction, possibly. And this particular animal, I can't remember if it was extinct or just nearly extinct, and it was a small flightless parrot that lived on the ground in some island in somewhere near New Zealand, I think. And it was saying that this particular parrot, like many birds, like a dodo, I guess, and other kinds of animals like that, it had no natural predators. So, of course, when I think it was Maoris first came, and then when Captain Cook and his mates came a bit later on, they had no trouble at all. They could just walk up to these parrots and just pick them up, really, and put them straight into the cooking pot. Because, as I say, these parrots had no natural predators, so they hadn't developed an aversion to other creatures. And specifically what it said on there, and I don't know if this is true or not, it said they didn't have any fear. That's what it said. It said they didn't feel fear. Now there's a bit of anthropomorphization going on there, clearly. But what I'm assuming that meant is that they didn't have any of those somatosensory motor responses, which Damasio calls emotions, that are kind of tagged with a certain value or a certain valency, such that the animal has this kind of preparedness, this script, this sensory motor somatosensory script, which corresponds to fear. Now, of course, not being, I presume at least, not having any kind of degree of consciousness, it wouldn't have the feeling of fear if we assume that feelings are the perception of bodily states, the perception of those somatosensory representations. But not only would it not have that perception because it's not conscious, it wouldn't have the somatosensory script in the first place. So there wouldn't be any fear. Which is fascinating, really, I think. These are animals that didn't have fear. So, a couple of things for me emerge from that. One is to do with the, to what extent do we really need certain emotions? I'm not really sure that humans need fear anymore, actually. It seems to be a very ancient response, most of the human things we've got. But also, what is the value that we place on these emotions? Because they have a very kind of conflicting and paradoxical status, I think, these emotions, whether we feel them as feelings or whether we just have them as non-perceived emotional state. They do have a paradoxical status. On the one hand, they are this kind of atavistic throwback to a kind of life in wherever we evolved, really, sometime in the Pleistocene, when we absolutely needed fear and we needed these various emotions to see us through various things. And then there's some evidence, I think, that suggests that some of the common phobias, even the specific fears, have their origins back then. And again, they're no use to man the beast now. So on the one hand, these feelings and these emotions are just kind of redundant leftovers, a bit like appendices and a bit like the other bits of leftover evolution that don't serve any useful purpose. But on the other hand, we have this very high regard for feelings at the same time. Feelings are are kind of cited as the thing that makes us human. They're the signs of a highly civilized and sophisticated human being, if they're able to feel things very deeply or feel things in a very sophisticated and complex way. And I'm not trying to make a harsh distinction between feelings and thought or any of that kind of stuff. Of course, I understand that. But there does seem to be this double thing, doesn't there? Like we talk about. Well, I suppose I'm thinking about religious feelings a bit. And this is really picking up on some stuff I was thinking about earlier on when I was talking about my mum who's not well in hospital. And your mind tends to go to things religious at those moments. Religious feelings, or something like religious feelings, even the kind of natural theological version of religious feelings, the kind of wonderment that one has in the face of nature, in the face of the cosmos. Now these are thought to be the absolutely highest aspirational states in many ways. that we look to those kinds of states, those kinds of moments of unification and epiphany and ecstasy and awe as the high point of, well, not just being, but human being, actually. And I can kind of understand that. I'm just confused by that apparent paradox. That these feelings, which on the one hand are a kind of testament to transcendence and the positive aspects of human evolution, but on the other hand, these feelings are these strange throwbacks which evolved to stop us doing stupid things like putting our hands in fire or standing in front of a predator waiting to be eaten.